Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Philly with John Marks on PHLY. As always, brought to you by BetParx. Monday. If you're watching live Monday morning, good morning, everybody out there listening live, watching live, 8:01 on a Monday. And the Phillies sweep the Blue Jays, just like we thought it was going to happen. Baseball is so crazy. Before we get to all of that, and we have a very fun show today. Before we get to all that, I mentioned this right from the top. As a part of ALLCITY Spirit Week, we're teaming up with Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, an incredible group creating life-changing mentorships for kids across the country. And we set a goal of $10,000, but we'd obviously like to smash right through that. And we can with your help. You can donate using the link in the video or description. All right? If you want to make an even bigger impact, you can sign up to become a big by visiting bbbs.org/allcity. bbbs.org/allcity. Just go there, and that'll give you everything you need for donating and things like that. Big Brothers Big Sisters. I was fortunate, grew up with my dad. He was my Little League coach. He was my coach. But what about kids that don't have father figures or fathers and need a mentor, need a big brother or a big sister, need a mother, right? You know what I mean? So they've done incredible work for decades now, Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So very proud that ALLCITY is teaming up and we're able to form a partnership. So again, bbbs.org/allcity. Well, listen, just like baseball always does, over a course of 162 games, you go 9-1, then you go 1-9, and then the Blue Jays come into town and you get a 3-game sweep. Suarez, Sanchez, Wheeler, sweep. Suarez, Sanchez, Wheeler, sweep. As Tyler and I have been saying all year long, this team's going to win 90-plus games, primarily because their starting pitching is so damn good. Ranger's been better than I think anybody could have expected, or like reasonable expectation, which is Ranger's a good starting pitcher. But like last year, he kind of ran out of gas, and is these injuries, this is what you're going to get. Man, he has been dealing, and he was great. Friday night, Chris Sanchez, his usual reliable, just all-star type pitcher. He was last year. And then Zack Wheeler yesterday gets you 6 strong innings, and the offense showed up yesterday. Max Kepler showed up on Saturday. Friday night, they get the win as well. So all in all, really like a great weekend of baseball, Father's Day weekend, able to get the sweep. Now, I got to say this from Jump Street, because I'm one of these guys that says, like, I know I'm probably not fair to Alec Bohm, and I was supportive of him early in the season, and then you wane because he's just kind of annoying in the body language, and he doesn't hit for power, and blah, 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 blah. And you look at him, and he's doing pretty much what he normally does, which is being a very productive hitter. Another home run over the weekend. RBIs. The batting average is up close to 290 at this point. So for everybody that wanted to trade Alec Bohm for whatever, just get rid of him. Get rid of him. Like, this is why you don't overreact when you play 162 games. It's because when you know, like, what's the old saying? You look at the back of the baseball card, like, generally that's what he'll be by the end of the year. And when you look at Alec Bohm, this is pretty much the player that he is. Close to 20 home runs, 80 to 90, maybe more RBIs, going to bat 270, 280 in that range right there. And his defense at third base is fine. He's fine. He's not, I don't think he's above average. I don't think he's below average. I think he's fine. I don't want to see him on first base. He's fine at third base. And he was a big part of the Phillies' success recently. He's been a big part of their offense. When Bryce Harper is out, when some of the other guys haven't been producing, bam, Alec Bohm comes in, and he really kind of carried you over the weekend offensively. and he's been doing it for the last few weeks here. Really, since the beginning of May, he's been a much different hitter. It was bad. And I thought he handled it pretty well. He didn't freak out because the entire town was freaking out. It's not an easy place to play when a town has decided we want you out. And not the entire city, but a lot of Phillies fans, a lot of fans out there, a lot of vocal Phillies fans on talk radio and social media. Out, 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 out. And he rebounded, and he's looking really good right now. So, there's a reason why Dave Dombrowski, when he went out there in the offseason, some of it's kind of laughable that he wanted to get good young starting pitching, but Alec Bohm's batting .283. He has 7 home runs right now, it's the same amount as Castellanos, and he's up to 31 RBIs. So when it's all said and done, he's going to be the player that we talk about. You look at the back of the baseball card, it's going to be exactly that. Castellanos' grand slam yesterday, by the way, might have been the worst, cheapest grand slam that you can see. And I'll take it, don't get me wrong. But off the bat, it looked like a line out to the left fielder. Maybe hits the gap. I didn't think it had warning track power, and it kept going. The ball that he hit before that was expected to be a home run, not that one right there. But again, you take it. And listen, Kepler, he hasn't gotten crushed. He's kind of flown under the radar. If you're a diehard Phillies fan, you're probably complaining about him. It's a 1-year contract, but still, good money for a 1-year contract. And he really hasn't done much. Saturday night, the offense was non-existent. The first 2 runs they got, in the inning, there were 3 walks and 2 hit by pitch. That's how they scored their other 2 runs. Bottom of the 8th, Kepler comes in, hits it, smashes it. Solo home run, they go up 3-2, and then what do you know, an easy 1-2-3 save from Matt Strahm, and they win game 2. So this team is starting to win games in different ways. Yesterday, the offense was a big part of it. Friday night, it was a good offensive and pitching performance. And then on Saturday, great starting pitching, and you took advantage when the other team made mistakes. How many times have we seen the Phillies or whatever baseball team, you got a pitcher that's wild, it's walking the bases loaded, and you go up there and you swing at the first pitch. Nope, they didn't do it. They were like, no, you're gonna have to throw strikes. And then he started hitting guys too. So all in all, a very, very good weekend. JT starting to heat up a little bit there. Bryson Stott, not so much. And can we end with Otto Kemp? Get in the zone, Otto zone. Oh, man. Now here's when I've been watching him. He's not going to see a lot of pitches when he goes up there. He's looking to swing, brother. And he gets up there and he swings. Gotta love it right now. Now, once he gets around a little bit and the league adjusts to him or whatever, he'll probably come down a little bit. But the kid's got something, for sure. He's got something he can hit. He can play multiple positions. He's their everyday first baseman until Bryce Harper gets back. And then he's probably going to be your left fielder. It's going to be Kepler and Otto Kemp in left field. I don't know how much Bohm is going to be riding the pine or even Stott at second base, but he can easily get 4 starts a week. And he's hitting like this, maybe even more. The hell with platoons. He can play even more. So Otto Kemp, listen, this is what a lot of people wanted when he was smashing the ball down in AAA. A little bit of life on this team, everybody. You bring younger players up. They have a certain personality and vibe to them. It brings energy to a stale clubhouse. This team felt stale. It just felt stale for a while. But all in all, a great Philly sweep as Otto Kemp, 4 for 5 yesterday, now betting $345. This portion of the show brought to you by GLAT Hair Restoration, GLATHairMM.com, 610-980-4000. 610-980-4000. You can text them. You don't just have to call them. As we welcome in Tyler Zulli, PHLY Phillies. He's got a live show later on today. Just as we all thought, Tyler, a sweep of the Blue Jays over the
course.
weekend.
That's just that's how this goes, right? I mean, this is the ridiculous, stupidity, beautiful thing about baseball. Right, you go on a 9 series out of 10 run, and then you lose 9 out of 10 games, and now you've won 4 consecutive games and taken series against 2 teams that are currently playoff teams. Right, Toronto had been on a roll, including beating you 2 out of 3 in Toronto.
Yep.
Up until this point, and Chicago's just outslugged everybody all season long. You know, it's how baseball works. And the Phillies had an opportunity this weekend, as you brought up to begin the show, where they set up their rotation in a way that I think that, like, not in the order, but potentially that's the three that are going to get the first three starts in a playoff game. I don't know what they do if Luzardo starts a game 3 versus a Ranger or versus a Sanchez, but like it's Wheeler 1 and 2 of those 3 guys in games 2 and 3. You had the opportunity to see 3 of your best starting pitchers, and they delivered. It's almost funny to say, statistically speaking, the worst start of the weekend came from Zack Wheeler, and it was a really good start, right? 2 runs, 1 earned, 6 innings pitched. He was good. Sanchez was excellent. Ranger was excellent.
Man.
Right. So we've talked about Ranger a lot because of trade speculations and him being on the final year of his deal. John, you can't trade this guy.
Thinking the same thing.
You can't trade this. I know that you need help elsewhere, and I understand you should trade from surpluses. But with Aaron Nola now missing what they said up to 2 months, who knows what he's going to be when he comes back? With Mick Abel, who's pitched well, but he's only made 3 starts. Like, can he do it over a 10, 15 start sample size? Ranger Suarez is going to be needed to pitch innings down the stretch and in the postseason.
Yeah.
He has been so good. He has a 2.4 ERA now?
2.32.
With a 7 earned run game to start his season.
Yeah. Yep.
If you take that out, he's at like 1.4 for the rest of his starts. He's been so good.
Yeah.
You can't move on from this guy. You got to figure something else out to acquire the talent that you need that doesn't include moving Ranger.
Yeah, so with Ranger, I don't think you're moving him for an everyday player, because why would a team want to get rid of their everyday player? Because Ranger Suarez has legit value. Any team that needs a starting pitcher is going to want Ranger Suarez. But why would they trade? You're not trading Ranger Suarez for a platoon bat.
Correct.
Right? And what position are we talking about? The outfield? Honestly, I think this is the team.
It's either the outfield or a legitimate closer. That would be your 2 options.
Legit closer, and it would have to be a guy that would be under club control for multiple years.
Right. You're not talking about moving Ranger for Aroldis Chapman.
So, and why would a team do that on a guy that has an aspiring contract? You know what I mean? Like, Ranger Suarez is a free agent. So a team like the A's to deal their closer, or a team like, I don't even know, that has a young closer that's under club control. Why do they want Ranger Suarez unless...
Sure.
Because a team that's in the playoffs right now, why would they want to trade their all-star closer? Unless they have somebody that's right there. I mean, like, so honestly, if you were to trade Ranger Suarez, which they're not going to, so this may be a moot conversation, I'd do it for top prospects. But they're not going to do that because, like you said, how do you win a World Series? You have Ranger Suarez on the mound. That's how you win a World Series. The guy we saw pitch on Friday night was the guy we saw at the beginning of last season.
Yep.
When it was, wow, he could win a Cy Young. Now, he ran out of gas a little bit, but he got started a little bit later this year. So maybe you're able to pace him a little bit. And then by the time September comes, you're still seeing the Ranger we're seeing right now. Because his game is control. And man, he does not throw many balls in the middle of the plate. He is working both sides of the plate. His command has been excellent. I mean, he really hasn't been walking anybody. And I think the one walk that he had Friday night was even kind of like like he just missed off the outside of the plate. He was unbelievable. So again, the bullpen is a major concern. It's still a major concern for sure. So they're gonna have to add somebody, and they're gonna have to give up a prospect to do it. I think this team, as currently constituted, are you trading for a starting center fielder? I mean, all right, maybe. I don't know. Are you trading for, and then Rojas is one of those players that goes back in return and then prospects? I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying the most likely scenario for me is that they're adding a closer. They're not adding not unless there's a no doubt about it. He's the starting center fielder this year and next year. I don't need a platoon bat. I got plenty of platoon bats on this team right now, especially with Otto Kemp.
You bring up Rangers. This is Rangers heat map from Friday night. I see like 3 pitches that are middle. And he ended up, what do you throw on Friday night? He ended up throwing like 90 some odd pitches, right? 94 pitches. And I'm looking at 3, maybe 5 pitches that I would consider middle. But like the pitches that are out of the zone for him are pitches with purpose.
Right.
They're not missed spots. They're
changing the eye.
Right. And that's the thing that we've talked about that plenty. What Ranger does so well is his ability to, when he figures out early what his second and third pitches are going to be, because it's different on any given night. Could be changeup, could be cutter, could be that slow curveball that he throws. When he figures out what pitch 2 and 3 is early, he locks in, and then he mixes his pitches really, really well. And he's done that for most of his starts this year so far.
Yeah, he knows how to set guys up. He does.
He's such a pitcher's pitcher.
He is. He is awesome to watch, and it's crazy to think that he's not going to be a Philly next year, right?
It sucks.
They can't re-sign him.
Like, it sucks that the likely scenario, because not only could they re-sign him, sure, they could allocate the money, but I think a team's going to overpay him. And I don't mean overpay like he doesn't deserve it. I just mean like it's going to be an inflated price.
I mean, look what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
It's not like this is the first year he's done it. I mean, but listen, at least Aaron Nola is going to be able to chew up 5 innings a start for the next 7 years.
You had to do it, didn't you?
Well, I mean, look, that's your choice. That's my point with the stupid contract. You're paying a back of the rotation starter $25 million.
So I
now you can't keep Ranger Suarez.
I guess with Ranger, the one thing monetarily you could conceivably do is, so JT's making what, 22 or 23 this year?
20s, yep.
Can you get him to 15 next year? If you're going to re-sign him, can you get him to 12 or 15? Can you not pick up Jose Alvarado's? Like, there's ways to do it to get that money, but does it diminish your team more than it helps bring in Ranger back? You know what I mean? That's the conversation that
the problem is Otto Kemp helps with this. The problem is a lot of times you need young players on your team because they're inexpensive.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Like in the NFL, first round draft picks are if their production's great, they're not making a lot of money. Milton Williams playing in the Super Bowl making like $600,000 is the best value ever. He's making $30 million for the Patriots. It's not a good value, right?
Well, and that's why we talked about Alec Boehm at the beginning of the season, because he's arbitration eligible still. Like, the value of that money versus paying an Arenado or paying a Bregman or whomever it might be, that does bring the value. It balances the scale a little bit. And you're right. The same could be said for anybody. Like, Ranger being on the final year of his arbitration was great for everything that he provided. And you know what I mean? So, like, you're basically playing the game of, the unfortunate scenario is he's probably going to walk in free agency, but for the remainder of the year, you have to count on him because he's been so darn good.
For sure. And if Bryson Stott could hit a freaking baseball, he'd be because he's playing a premium position, second base, and he's not producing at all. He's not making any money. So unfortunately, outside of Kerkering, they don't really have these young relievers that aren't making a lot of money. So now you're left with having to pay Hoffman to keep him $12, $13 million a year. Like that. It'd be nice if you had a couple of young guys coming up that you don't have to pay. And so it's going to be tough to keep Ranger. It just is. All right. So coming up, more Phillies conversation. Also, I don't know if people saw this. There was a Pennsylvania State championship game decided on a balk. Was it the right call by the umpire? We'll go to the video. Everybody's been weighing in on this thing. Tyler and I were debating it before the show started today. We'll play the video. We'll discuss it. Should the umpire have made the call in the situation? It's going to be interesting. More Phillies as well, some 76ers. Philly with John Marks, PHLY. Why? All right, check it out. We're on a roll, right? Last week, we're licking our wounds with our baseball team. Now we're feeling great. You can live bet Philadelphia baseball tonight. First game in a series at Miami. Well, they got in late last night, so they probably weren't on South Beach. Mick Abel pitches tonight. Who's going to hit the home runs? Who's going to get strikeouts, RBIs, and more? How about Pro Hoops final game 5? Tonight, series tied at 2-2. OKC. You would have thought about a line telling you something. 9.5-point home favorites hosting Indiana. I don't know. That's interesting. Live betting is just better on the BetParx app. And there's always another way to win with the BetParx Sportsbook and online casino app. How about new casino games like Huff and More Puff and Fire Blaze Sky Queen, a BetParx exclusive. Play blackjack, roulette, craps, poker, baccarat, and hot online slots like Cash Eruption, 88 Fortunes, and Cleopatra online slots. New users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. So go to BetParx.com. Download the app right now. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 And in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx, you love to play, you play to win, you bet BetParx. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Ace is the place for losers like me that can't do anything. All right, so you got something going on in your home, leaky pipe, toilet clogged up, whatever it is, Ace Hardware Home Services, the power of the Ace brand, striving to be the best, most trusted provider of home preservation service, is offering a wide range of residential maintenance, installation, and home repair services, including plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical. Free estimates on equipment installation and replacement with trusted advisors and options. They're best suited for your home and budget. And hey, emergency services are available. It's Monday. Something happens over the weekend, what do? Emergency services are available. AceHardwareHomeservices.com. Service you can trust, and satisfaction is guaranteed. You know they're going to make it right no matter what. AceHardwareHomeservices.com. That's AceHardwareHomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Hoo-ah. There you go. All right. We'll talk about this balk situation in a second. Phils in Miami against the Marlins. You know, I gotta, as pathetic of a baseball town as that is, and I don't really like South Beach, but I like Fort Lauderdale. Have you been down? Tyler, have you seen a game anywhere down there? Or
just at, not in Miami, no. I mean, I would say that I've been to, I was at Tropicana for the Rays. I've been to Clearwater for a Philly spring training game, but no, I've never been to Miami. Yeah,
because Philly sports trips, and I don't see a lot of like, oh, let's go to see the Phillies in Miami. They should. I'm sure a lot of tickets available, as there's nobody who really goes to those games. But Phil's down in Miami. Now, the Marlins, they just lost to the Pirates, and the Pirates are playing better. So if you're the Phils right now, I think it's important that you don't take the eye off the prize and you realize, like, all right, let's go down. Let's keep rolling here, okay? You got an A-ball against Alcantara tonight, and then you continue with Jesus Luzardo. And again, this is where if Luzardo's right, this is where you continue to roll, and you're just like, oh, well, we're back to Ranger Suarez on Wednesday. Right? So they have great starting pitching. Chris Sanchez on Thursday. So you got 4 against the Marlins this week. Let's win 3 or 4. Can we sign up for 3 and 4? Because the Mets are coming into town over the weekend. So it'd be nice to be feeling good, but not too good. Because you know the Marlins aren't all that good. Because really, the Mets, I think they got did the Marlins beat them last night? Were they playing the Marlins this weekend? They got shut out last night, I think like 8 or 9-0. But the Mets have been playing well over the course of the last couple of weeks. So they have a couple game lead on you in the division. Let's get ready and let's get it ready for this weekend, because it is going to be wild down there at Citizens Bank Park. Yeah,
the Marlins have won 3 of their last 4. Like you said, they did lose 2 of 3 to the Pirates, but they took Friday and Saturday against the Nationals. Now, I think yesterday may have gotten rained out because looks like they didn't play yesterday. But yeah, they've won 3 of their last 4, which puts them all the way up to 28-41.
There you go.
But you're right. You got to keep the foot on the pedal, because you just played a team that's in a similar spot, about 14, 15 games under 500, and got swept by them in Pittsburgh, 2 weekends ago. So you keep the foot on the gas and keep driving.
Yeah, the Mets were going through, they played the Rockies, they swept the Rockies. They played the Nationals, they swept the Nationals, and then they just got swept at home against the Rays. So we're not the only team that's going up and down in Major League Baseball. All right, so this was really interesting. Pennsylvania State High School. So the title game for baseball up at Penn State. Tyler would have been proud to be watching them up at Penn State. So it's North Penn against Cedar Cliff for the Class 6A state title. This was Friday night. The game is 0-0, heading into the bottom of the 13th. Cedar Cliff loads the bases. Nobody out. This is going to be trouble. So you figure there's going to be a walk-off. Really, you just put the ball in the bat, and the odds are that you're going to win. So senior reliever Caleb Price, who is beginning his 5th inning of work. Jeez, man. 13 innings with no score? Jeez. So a pair of walks. One was intentional. That loads the bases with no outs. The infield is brought in, gives you the force at the plate. From the stretch, and we have the video, so if you're watching, you'll see it. If you're listening, we're just going to have to give you you'll hear the play-by-play. So here it is. This is what happened on Friday night.
He's reminding timeout is called it. He walked into a winning run. He walked in the championship run.
So a balk was called by the home plate umpire, and the game was over. Now, the odds are they were going to lose anyway. It was the bases were loaded and no outs. But I'm sorry, how many times have we seen bases loaded and no outs and they don't get a run? Who knows? You want to at least see that play out. So a balk was called. Do you call a balk in that situation? I mean, if it's a balk and it's obvious, the umpire is going to call it. But it really depends for me on the level of the balk. So, Tyler, we looked at this video. I've looked at this video I don't know how many times. It was a longer video that's put out there because the catcher wasn't even really set yet. And I think if you were looking at it with a microscope, like, yeah, it was a balk. But in that particular situation, with the bases loaded in a championship game, you don't have to call that balk. It didn't affect the base runner. It didn't cause an out or anything like that. You make a balk call when it's so obvious, you have to say, all right, that's a balk. I have to call that. Game's over. Runner from third, go home. He flinched a little bit. There was a twitch on the pitcher. And if you're, I don't even know how he saw it, but like he called a balk. It was probably technically a balk, but I don't know how you call it in that situation. You just hate to see it.
Yeah, so by the letter of the law, that's a stop-start balk.
Right.
It is. And so if you want to call the game strictly by the game, it is a balk. I will say this, though. I have watched countless major league pitchers do that thing where they come set, and then they come set, and then they come set, where it's one of these. And it's their timing mechanism, right? And whatever you consider your timing mechanism, that is allowed because it's repeated, right? Because it's your repeatable motion. Now, this kid probably doesn't have a hitch in his repeatable motion. So I get the thought of that's an unnatural movement. But I think in this particular spot, if he had come set and then did that, 100% balk. He wasn't set. The catcher's hardly set. I don't even think the batter's 100% ready in the box. Like,
more or less, if you didn't see it or you're listening on the audio podcast, so his right leg is on the rubber. He brought it up. Like that was kind of I think that's what they call, was just there was like a twitch in the leg.
It's a stop-start balk.
Right.
Yeah. Because like once you come started, you're supposed to come set. If you stop midway through your set, that's a balk. If you stop midway through your delivery, that's a balk. There's a lot of things, like once you come set, unless you have that repeatable motion, which we could argue, is it a balk or is it not? Probably should be called anyway. But that wasn't a repeatable motion. That was a flinch, right? And I think in that spot, I would have been hesitant to call it if I'm the umpire. It's a bad spot to be in if you're the umpire. But I think in that particular spot, it's hard to make that call. Again, if he were set, you make the call, it's a balk, it's game over. Because then you're deceiving the runner. Especially the runner that you're looking at on third. But in that particular instance, I don't think I can make... but it's a tough spot to be in, but I don't think I can make that call.
So looking at it for the 1,050th time, he was about to... He has the ball in his right hand. He's about to... He's made a decision on the pitch. He's about to... And he stops himself, and it's just a twitch. It's a balk. It's a balk. It's a balk. In sports, fouls aren't always fouls in basketball. Depending, you can call a foul on almost every play. As with Tim Donaghy, as we learned with Tim Donaghy, it's very easy to decide what's a foul and what's not a foul. Same thing with football. You can call holding on a lot of plays, right? But as we know, there's calls that you don't make in certain spots, like in hockey in the third period. It's not like this today, but 20 years ago, 25 years ago, you would practically have to decapitate a player to get a penalty called in the second half of the third period. You drag them down. They're not going to blow the whistle. Not like that as much anymore, but like in the Super Bowl. We would all agree there was a jersey tug. James Bradbury tugged the jersey. He did. You could see it. Had no effect on the play. The ball was not going to be caught regardless, but the referee at the time decided, you know what? I saw the jersey tag. You throw it. You don't make that call in that situation. It's a bad call in that situation, right? It was a penalty. It was a penalty, but you don't make penalties in all situations. You don't call fouls in all situations. You don't call a balk in that situation. You don't. Sorry. I hated it in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. I hate it whenever I watch ticky-tack type calls in big spots like that. 5 seconds to go in an NBA game, and you're calling all right, maybe there was a little bit of body contact. You don't make the call. If it's you got him on the wrist and it affected the shot, yeah, of course you make the call there. It's just not necessary. And it sucks for the kid too. But I was really, really impressed with the manager of North Penn. I wish I had his name in front of me. Kevin Monero said that we didn't get any runs in the first 13 innings. Like it's hard to cherry pick one spot in the game. The bases were loaded. That was their cleanup hitter. And then they had their 5 and 6 hitters coming up after that. So, like, from his perspective, I'm glad he handled it the way that he did.
Yeah, I think the reality of the situation is, like, are they going to lose that game if the balk's not called? Probably still, right? Like you said, bases loaded, nobody out, 4, 5, 6 coming up. What are you getting, a strikeout and a double play or a pop-up and a double play? You might. But the reality is, like, you might not. He might have walked the run in. He might have hit the batter. You know what I mean? But I think in that particular spot, allowing the players to decide the outcome of the game is probably the right call. Like I said, if he comes set and drops the ball, you got to call it, right? Like, I've been called for 2 balks in my entire life. One of them, I legitimately dropped the ball on the mound. And there's nothing you can do, right? It's like I was, trying to hide the ball, and I'm spinning it in my hand, and I come set and drop the ball. That's a balk. The other one, I tried to I'm lefty, so I did the leg hang and went over to first, and then just didn't throw the ball. And I'm just like sitting there with the ball in my hand, and the ump's like, balk? And they're like, yeah, that's a balk. You got to throw the ball. Like, those are egregious things, right? In this spot, I just think with how loose so many different stop sets are and how motions are, like, does Nestor Cortez balk? He might. Did Johnny Cueto balk? Maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, every time, though.
It's hard to determine. It's hard to make that call in that spot with the game on the line like that.
Man, it sure is. But the umps trying to make the right call or whatever. I just wonder in hindsight if he had to do it all over again, he might have just let him finish it out right there. Big trade in Major League Baseball where Rafael Devers, who has been red hot since starting off kind of slow, traded to the Giants. Normally trades don't happen before the trade deadline. This was unusual because the Red Sox just swept the Yankees. They went into the season trying to be a wild card team. They're not in a rebuilding. They're making a push to try to make the playoffs. Now, they haven't been great so far. They're still under 500, but they traded a 3-time All-Star for not a great package. You know what they traded him for? To get out from the contract, really. And they got a couple prospects, and they got like one decent pitcher, one not so decent pitcher, and a couple of prospects. That's it. A former first-round draft pick, and an international player. But make no mistake about it, and I think Jeff Passan wrote this or tweeted this out, that this was so if you remember, and you may not remember this, but prior to the season, because the Red Sox signed Alex Bregman, they moved Devers off of third base. Devers not a good defensive third baseman as it is, so he was like, all right, you're a full-time DH now. And he felt a certain way about that, but he said, okay, I'm a full-time DH. They lost their first baseman to injury, and they asked Devers to maybe go over and play first base, and he said no, which pissed off a lot of Red Sox players and which pissed off the organization. And he also talked about it publicly to the media, which I think also rubbed them the wrong way. And he called out the front office. He did. And I think there's an interesting discussion regarding, like, hey, you already took him off of being third base. Now you want him to move to first base. And he's like, no, I want to be the DH. Like, all right, like, I don't see his perspective, but I've heard some smart people make the argument, like, why are you ripping him? Like, they already took his job away from him at third base. Now you want him to move to first base? Like, yeah, I want him to move to first base. Yes, that's what I want him to do.
So here's the thing, especially, and I understand that the difference in the mindset of being a DH versus being a positional player, but as a third baseman, objectively, Rafael Devers was the worst defensive third baseman in the league. 4 consecutive years. Awful. Like, every metric tells you he's a terrible defensive third baseman. You want to B and C about, I'm a third baseman. No, you're not, buddy. You're a DH. Okay, so they move him to DH, right? And then Tristan Casas, as you said, gets hurt, and it's, hey, can you go play first base? No. What do you mean no? And then he apparently the report is he got pissed off that they were trying to get Christian Campbell reps at first base. They're one of their big time prospects because Christian Campbell said, "Yeah, dude, get me on the field." Like you're a great hitter. You're one of the better hitters in baseball. You have been for 3-4 years now. Very good hitter. But like you only get so much leeway before the team goes, yeah, we don't need this crap anymore.
Right.
You got another 7 years at $30 million a year. Like we're gonna like, and so I understand. Now I will say this: the return on the trade, they got nothing for him.
Yeah, they did.
Like that's a steal for the Giants.
Well, they're essentially taking on $250 million,
Right.
and the Red Sox look at the contract and be like, we don't want this guy anymore. Like this is an ownership GM level trade to say we just want to get rid of him. And whatever we get back in return. Because here's the thing. The Red Sox have some of their young prospects are the best prospects in baseball. So while you would have wanted to have Devers as being kind of the veteran guy, when you sign a 10-year contract for over $300 million, see, this is what it is to me, right? And this might seem like a weird comparison, but one of the reasons that I'm not a huge fan of Donovan McNabb and the way that he discusses the Eagles, and I think he's kind of maybe he's changed this a little bit, but when you get your number retired and you're paid as much money as the Eagles paid you and treated you well for a long time, even if they traded you away, still they retired your number because it was a pity party and you had to have it retired right away, right? Like that, you know what that means? That means you're an ambassador to the team. And if you're an actual analyst, you're doing games, or you're like Troy Aikman, or like you're actually working games or in real media outlets, and you want to give fair criticism on what's going on with the organization and the team, you can do that. But didn't it feel like for a while that Donovan was just salty and he wanted to attack everything or a lot of things about the Eagles? Even up to a couple times when something with Jalen Hurts where like he was still expressing like publicly, he was coming on my WIP show and he was saying that the Eagles haven't been doing the right thing, and he talked about Howie and he talked about the ownership, and it's like, hang on a second. This is the best ownership we have in the city. He wasn't reading the situation correctly. So I felt like Donovan, yo, bro, like Brian Dawkins shouldn't come out and criticize the team. Brian Dawkins is an Eagle. He's not going to, Brandon Graham's not going to come out. He's not going to criticize the team, be overly critical of the team. He's an Eagle, right? Rafael Devers, when you get a 10-year, $300-some-odd million contract, what do you need from me? You want me to play first base? Absolutely. Hey, listen, I've never played before. I have reservations. I don't want you to put me right out there, but let's try it. Let's work out. Not publicly call out the GM and ownership for moving the first base. And when you sign a contract like that, then like, don't you have to kind of give respect to the organization? That is a true partnership. It's one thing if it's like, hey, I'm on the final year of my contract and you want to put me over at first base where I might look like an idiot and it's going to affect me at the plate. Understandable. Totally understandable. 7 years left on the contract? Nah, bro. Generational wealth, Holmes. All right. You do what's best for the organization. And the fact that he didn't want to do that, that's the last guy I want on my team. So I don't know what the reaction is going to be in Boston because they hate that ownership group up there. So it's probably going to be negative. I think it's the right move, and I would have been totally down with they put that loser Devers, get rid of him and send him to San Francisco.
So here's my problem with the move. Not necessarily getting away from Devers. I get it was a toxic relationship. They have now traded Devers and Mookie Betts in the last 7-ish years, right? And the return that they've gotten on those two guys, who are probably the two best players the Red Sox have had, you know, with the exception of maybe pitching and things like that, but the two best position players the Red Sox have had in terms of offensive productivity, and they've got nothing for it. Like Jeter Downs was the headliner of the Mookie Betts trade. I'm not even sure he's playing professional baseball anymore. Alex Verdugo was in the trade. He was underwhelming, has bounced around, was back with the Dodgers, was with the Yankees, underwhelming.
He hasn't been great.
And then they get Kyle Harrison, who has okay stuff, hasn't proven anything, and Jordan Hicks, who, let's be honest, Jordan Hicks should be a reliever still, and he said, I want to start, and the Giants said okay, and now he's got a 6 ERA, and a couple of prospects who I don't know a ton about them. I'm not going to pretend like I do. But the returns that you've gotten from the two best players that you've been able to bring up through your ranks are very underwhelming.
Mookie Betts did not want to resign with the Red Sox.
Sure.
They were trying. Why the hell would you want him to leave? And then he goes to Los Angeles and wins championships. It stings, man. If you're a Red Sox fan, it stings.
And is widely considered one of the most versatile players in the game, not just because of the fact that he is good, but the fact that he can play 4 or 5 different positions and is good at all of them. And he hits no matter where you put him in the lineup, and he hits no matter where you put him in the field. He's played second, he's played short, he's played center, he's played right. Like, at this point, the guy's he's like reverse Craig Biggio. He's going to the harder positions as he gets older.
All right, we'll come back. Our BetParx Parlay of the day, I'm feeling hot. I'm feeling like the Phillies. I'm feeling a hot streak. Phillies went 1-9. They won 4 straight. Why can't we do the same? We haven't went 1-9, though. Well, maybe we have.
Oh, we certainly have.
Philly with John Marks. We're back after this. 2-2. All right. Listen. As Herb from Northeast Philly once told me, just like your favorite team, right? You want home court, home field advantage, right? Well, Empire today gets you that because they have flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. That's all they do, right? So you go to the big box store because you're like, oh, you know what? I can probably save some money. Get the flooring there that I need. You go to the box store and there's nobody around and you have questions and they don't really know what they're talking about. Not getting that with Empire today. Flooring experts, that's all they do. And what happens if you do go to the big box store and you say, all right, I need 400 square feet of this. I need 800 square feet of this. How are you getting it to your house? No, you got to haul it on. Who's going to install it for you? Then you have to figure out who that is. Do they know what they're doing? What are their reviews? Empire today, one call, one website, empiretoday.com/PHLY. Get it taken care of. Free in-home estimate today. They come to your space. They take precise measurements. You can see what the flooring looks like with your furniture, with your lighting, with the color of your walls. That kind of stuff matters, right? And you're getting clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing with Empire today. And you can schedule your installation as soon as the next day. That's correct. Also, a $350 discount with code PHLY. Restrictions do apply, but go to empiretoday.com/PHLY. empiretoday.com/PHLY. Hoo-ah. All right, GLAT Hair Restoration. Let's talk about them. By Morgan Stern Medical, right there in Ballackinwood. All right, so they're right in the area. Free parking. You're getting care from board-certified surgeons with over 30 years of experience. GLATHairMM.com. GLAT HairMM.com. I've had people reach out to me this before. My brother-in-law even asked me about this because he's inquired about hair restoration and PRP and things like that. He said, well, what about Turkey? You can go to these foreign countries because they advertise, heavy advertisers on social media and things like that. And you can, you think you're saving a lot of money. Oh, it's a lot less expensive over there, right? But then you got to pay for hotel accommodations. Then you got to pay for your travel. Then you're going to friggin' Turkey to have a procedure done. And do they wash their hands? I don't know what happens over there. You know what I mean? You know what you're getting with GLAT Hair by Morgan Stern Medical. You know what you're getting. You're in the United States. Why? Are you crazy? You wake up in a bathtub, your kidneys are gone, right? You don't know what's going on. Don't do that. GLATHairMM.com. And it's not just about restoration. It's about innovation, everything that they do. If you're just starting to lose your hair and you've seen some of the advertisements on social media, sprays and gels and shampoos and things like that, hair is all they do. They're the experts. Check in with them. GLATHairMM.com. You can text them or call them. 610-980-4000. 610-980-4000. GLATHairMM.com. Wow. All right, we're back. So on Wednesday, 2 days from now, we're doing something pretty cool. 12 straight hours. Streamathon. Can we call it thon? Because I don't think anybody's used thought like this. Tyler, can we just call it thon? Because I don't think anybody would get that confused with anything else.
No, you cannot.
Okay. But we're going to stream for 12 straight hours, starting with me.
Yep.
At 8 o'clock, a full day, wall-to-wall sports, laughs, chaos, and a little bit of something. It's all brought to you by our friends at TrueMark Financial. So, Tyler, 8 o'clock, and we're not going to be in this studio. If you've seen Anthony on some of the Fridays we're exciting mics through their show. It's out in our kind of like the center of our universe out there. And who's going to be with? I think Jamie Lynch is going to be with.
Yeah,
with
so
us.
I won't give the whole schedule away because that's kind of the fun of it. But I
is.
do believe Jamie is going to be with you in the morning from 8 to 9. I will not be with you because I'm going to be doing some stuff on the other
afternoon.
end. Yeah, so I'm doing some more like closer to the Phillies game time, so I'll be there. But yeah, you and Jamie from 8 to 9, and then just a slew of different people kind of in and out for the rest of the day. Should be fun.
Starts at 8, goes all the way up to 8. That'd be 12 hours, right? Yeah. So check in. That's on Wednesday, and it's never going to stop. It's just going to continue. So if you can't watch it from the beginning, you can go back and start it then. You can just jump in whenever you can. Again, it's brought to you by TrueMark Financial. For the before the BetParx Parlay of the day, I was at the game on Saturday, 4:05 start. So Tyler, not that I kind of was feeling sorry for myself because we hadn't been to a game this year, and it was the first game, and we bought the tickets on the secondary market, so they actually weren't bad, but still going down to a Phillies game for a family of 5 is a lot of money. And then you look at the forecast, and I do this with the shore. The week before you go down the shore, I'm like, oh, is it going to be sunny? I need sun every day. I need sun every day. And then you're looking at the forecast, and it's like, oh, man, you're going to get washed out 2 or 3 days. So Saturday's forecast was not good. And I was like, well, this is going to suck. And then Friday night, Saturday morning, I'm like, you know what? Like, this might actually work out. So we had rain in the morning, and then we're driving down to the game. So we got down there at 2:30, 2:45. Game was 4:05. And it had just started raining. But not only did it just stopped raining. But not only did it stop raining, the skies were getting bright. And it was like, you know what? This might end up working out. And it didn't rain. The temperatures were very nice in the mid-60s. It wasn't sunny, but it got bright. You wouldn't have known that it rained at all. There wasn't any wetness in the park. All the seats were wiped down or whatever. And because here's what can happen when you go to a 4:05 start in June or July, it'd be 100 degrees.
Sure.
And ridiculously sunny. So the temperature was great. We got in. We were in the outfield. We were 3 rows off of section 101 in the outfield. So we were watching them throw before the game. Chris Sanchez's routine is he's pitching it like the distance from the mound, and then he'll walk back 10 feet, and then still from the set, he'll throw a couple pitches. He walks back 10 feet, all the way to he's probably 100 feet, and he's still pitching from the stretch. The velocity on this dude's pitches, oh my God, man! So for my kids to kind of see this, it was really, really cool. They brought their gloves and everything else, so it was awesome.
I would bet you. Based on what I know about the routines that starters have, especially guys that have changeups like he does, I would bet you he works out and, like you said, is in the stretch the whole time, fires his heart, fires from that distance. And then the thought process is when you start coming back in is when you start throwing the changeup. And the reason behind it is you want arm action. So You're throwing as hard as you did on the way out, arm action wise, but you're throwing the changeup. So it's to help you get in the rhythm of deception of whether you throw the circle change or there's a million different changeups now, but it's to get you arm action deception as you come back in. So I would bet you he probably starts firing the changeup as he starts moving back in.
Yeah, it was
that stuff. So that stuff fascinates me.
Yeah,
how routines work and things like that.
Yeah, it was cool. So we were in the section next to the bullpen, and all my kids care about is getting a ball. So,
sure.
We're yelling every Castellanos. Castellanos, my youngest daughter, Bella, her favorite player is Castellanos. So we're yelling Castellanos. So one nice gentleman who was a listener and a viewer had said oh, your girl's trying to get a ball. We just got this one, gave it to her. But then we're over at the bullpen, and the bullpen catcher, my kids were yelling, and he's like, hang on. And he went and got a ball, and he threw it up to him, and they caught it. So,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I don't think maybe these players realize it, maybe they don't, but just a kid getting a ball that was down on the field or in the bullpen of a major league game is such a big deal to them. And it's a ball to them. They do this 162 times, so they're just flipping it up there.
Oh, yeah.
But for a 9 and an 8-year-old to be able to get a ball at a game was the best thing ever. For them.
Yeah, it means the world to them.
Yeah, it was awesome. All right, let's get to our BetParx Parlay of the day. All right, what do we got? Tyler, we didn't even do one on Friday.
We didn't. And you know, it's funny. I texted a buddy because he actually texted me after you had said, you know, I had a little bit of a streak going. And he goes, really? Six in a row or 7 in a row, whatever it was. And so I texted him on Friday. I would have taken on Friday Coastal Carolina on the run line in the College World Series, -1.5. They hit. So I'm taking it.
It counts.
It
counts.
So today I'm going to go to the Nationals-Rockies game. Carson Palmquist is on the mound for the Rockies. 7.7 ERA in his first couple of starts. I am going to go back to the total bags game that I didn't have a lot of success with earlier in the year, but I'm going to try it. I am going to go with James Wood, the Nationals left fielder, power-hitting left fielder, to go over 1.5 bags at +108. He actually doesn't have a hit in his last 2 games, but prior to that, he had 8 in his last 3. And, you know, he's got so much pop, so much power. And the funny thing is he only has 1 home run in the month of June. I almost want to venture a guess to say I'm taking Wood on the home run line, but I'm going to take James Wood on the over 1.5 at +108. Total bags.
+108. All right, let me see here. Let me put it in my calculator right here. All right, so +108. So I'm taking the Pacers. +9.5. I said earlier that is a huge OKC line, 9.5 in Game 5. So what they're telling you is they don't expect this one to be close. OKC back home, boom, they win Game 5, and then it's a matter of can the Pacers stay alive for Game 6. I'm not telling you OKC's not going to win the game. There's something different about this Pacers team. There is. And I'm not even telling you that this is something you could expect next year. Sometimes you just get this team where the chemistry and the defense and everybody's pulling in the same direction. Everybody likes each other and everything else. And like, I still think OKC wins the series, but still, like this Pacers team is really, really good. I really, really like them, and I'm rooting for them to win. But I think they keep it close tonight. So I'm going to take the Pacers +9.5. Now that's a big money line. If you think they can win this game tonight, that's a big money line. +310. So a $100 bet would win you $310 if they win it. -400 for OKC there, Tyler Zuli, right here on the BetParx app. So very, very interesting. The Tyrese Halliburton Pacers winning parlay, which was +10,100, is now standing at +4,400.
Yeah, it's feeling a little bit better, right?
It's still not likely to happen. So you can have the personal victory of, see, I told you this could happen. Now, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Well, you're getting a lot closer, right? At the beginning of the series, we're like, no way. That you've gone 55 or 5,600 points in the right direction, or in the wrong direction if you're betting it, right?
Right.
Like you almost, I think you probably look at that and you go, what's the cash out? Because I might consider it.
So that's what I was pissed about, was that I didn't put anything on it because I would have just taken the cash out. But I wonder what it would have been.
Well, if you put $10 on it to start the series, you probably they're
offering you how much? It's $1,000.
$1,000 on $10. They're probably offering you $150.
Yeah, I would have taken
take it. Yeah, absolutely take it. It's free money.
Yeah, it definitely is. I don't know. Can they win it, Tyler Zuli?
Indiana? They could certainly win it more now than I thought a week ago. No question about it. I mean, like you said, there seems to be a little bit of a magic to this team right now.
Yeah, too bad the 76ers don't have that magic. There was the big trade in the NBA, which, I mean, you got to give Orlando credit because they're going for it. But Desmond Bane traded to the Magic for Caldwell Pope, Cole Anthony, and 4 unprotected first-round picks and 1 first-round pick swap. Orlando sent Memphis the number 16th pick in this draft, and then 2026, because they're not all their picks, because they wouldn't be able to do that anyway. So they have right swaps with the Suns or the Wizards. So some of these picks could be legit.
The Wizards pick should be a good one.
Yeah. So they can end up getting a top pick or the top pick, for all you know. I saw a lot of, so anytime anything happens in Philly, we always try to relate it locally. And I saw I don't even remember who, but it was saying like, all right, well, if Bane's worth this, what is Tyrese Maxey worth? Or because if you're going to have a logjam at guard, like, do you look to move somebody at the height of their of their value as opposed to waiting. Let me tell you something about first round draft picks. The first round, schmirsh round draft picks. Now, the pick swaps with bad teams that's what makes that trade worth it for me, right? Orlando says, you know what? We see that the East is being weak right now. And who knows? He could be the missing piece in a young team that takes that next step next year. So I applaud him for doing it. Like, what the hell? Why wouldn't you do it? Forget about draft picks. And I like to trade from Memphis's perspective too. As far as the Sixers, here's when you trade anybody for a slew of first-round draft picks. When you're done, when you're rebuilding, when you're trying to lose. Because guess what? When you trade Joel Embiid and you get 3 first-round draft picks and a bunch of garbage contracts to make the trade work, guess what normally happens with these first-round draft picks, or oftentimes happens with the first-round draft picks? You don't even know what they're for. You don't even remember what they are. They get traded, or they get traded for a guy that's like, or whatever. So, like, I like it for both teams. The Sixers aren't ready to rebuild, so let's try to do the best we can. Tyler, I'm trying to come around, man. I'm trying to come around this season. I don't want to see the finals isn't even over, and I'm already pronouncing the Sixers dead in 2025, 2026.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where you've had a team that has hurt you for so long. And I think a lot of people like myself have had there was a lot of like cracking points, and then there's a certain breaking point. No matter what individual game or individual series it was, I think a lot of people had a breaking point with this team. And so you almost look at it and go, what else can go wrong? You had the Colangelo debacle. You had Markelle Fultz. You had Ben Simmons. You've now had the best player that you've had since Allen Iverson is now starting to fall with a ton of different built-up injuries. And there's just something about this team like that feels cursed. And I know that's silly. That's like all right, well, like it's a cop-out, but there's something about this team where can something at one point go right? So maybe the first go right is the Sixers getting up to the 3rd pick this year. Maybe that's a turning point. I don't know who they pick or how that player impacts the team, or if they use the pick in a trade, but maybe that could be a turning point for this organization.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, it's the only thing I have to hold on to right now.
No, but like I think we had Keith Pompey on last week, and he was really good. Like his insights were really good, and he confirmed. And he's like, I'm tired of talking about it, but yeah, they could have traded Ben Simmons for Halliburton and draft picks, and Sixers didn't want to get rid of Matisse Thybulle, and really had everything to do with James Harden. But he had wrote over the weekend that really, what does it come down to? We can talk about Maxey and McCain and the 3rd pick and Paul George. If Joel Embiid is an MVP Joel Embiid, the Sixers aren't winning anything. The only way that the Sixers make the Eastern Conference Finals is that Embiid has an MVP season, MVP type season, and he's healthy enough in the playoffs. They weren't that far off against the Celtics. They were right there with the Celtics. James Harden was also on this team, but they were right there, man. They weren't that far away. So it's hard to see it right now because we're looking through the lens of Joel Embiid's broken down and busted, and he's never going to be healthy again. If he can give you 60, and he can give you 60 MVP type games and not look broken on the floor when he is playing, that's how you do it. Everything. We can debate 3rd pick and should they sign Yabusele or Grimes or whatever. If Joel Embiid's not special Joel Embiid, this team's going nowhere.
Well, I think you're hoping and you're looking for a healthier team this year, and it starts with Joel Embiid. And if Joel Embiid is healthy, and like you said, when we talk health with Joel Embiid, it's a relative term because we're not asking the guy to play all 82 games and play 37 minutes a night. I'm asking the guy to give you 60 to 65 Joel Embiid type games, right? He's going to miss time because of load management. He's going to miss time because of a tweak here or there. He's 7 foot tall and he runs the floor like a guard at times, right? So those things are going to happen. If he can give me 60 or 65 really, really quality games and Tyrese Maxey stays healthy, I can get a little bit more from Paul George. That's where you talk yourself into this team bouncing back, because that's what we talked ourselves into last year when they signed Paul George. Was this should be a top 4 or 5 team in the East, and then you get into the playoffs and you see what happens. If those things come to fruition, if Maxey is healthy for the full season, if Embiid's healthy for 60-ish games, and Paul George is closer to what we expected than what we saw last year, that's where you start talking yourself into, yeah, they're probably a 4 or a 5 seed, and then you see what happens.
Yeah. This is where, and by the way, we are officially in. If you're watching on TV, slide on over to allphly.com. We're in overtime. This is where in my prior life, if I was doing sports radio, I would say the bottom line is I don't believe in Joel Embiid. Do you? I would give the phone numbers. That's the bottom line. I don't believe in Joel Embiid. Do I believe in him to be an MVP type player during the regular season? Sure. Okay. Yeah, you could do that next year. In the playoffs, is he going to be healthy enough? Is he going to be able to lead a team? Is he not going to crack when it matters the most? I don't believe in him.
You don't believe in Joel Embiid, or you don't believe the fact that he can stay healthy?
I don't believe in him.
I think two very different things.
Oh, I don't believe in him, period.
Okay.
Health and player. What I mean.
See, I disagree with you on the player portion of it.
Okay.
Because he was playing banged up last year and was playing well.
No, he's a good player, but is he a great player in game 6s and game 7s? Is he a great player when the team's looking to him and they're being like, dude, you're the MVP? The day that he didn't win the MVP because Jokic won it, and he was moping around in the first half of the game because he's mad he didn't win the MVP.
Oh, no doubt.
I'm just so tired of this.
Yeah,
dude.
no doubt. There's been times that have been frustrating. That was one of them. You know, him going out the night before the game of against Toronto and getting sick, and that. Like, I understand. You have a right to be upset about those things. I'm not going to tell you don't have a right to be upset about those things. I think thinking about this iteration of Joel Embiid, the more mature guy that the guy that we expect to be a little bit, more mature, right? Father and family man and things like that. Like that we've seen him grow up through the years. This Joel Embiid, I think, really is only hindered by injuries. I don't think he's hindered by any kind of outside noise anymore, the way that he was when he was younger. I think this guy is just, is he healthy or is he not? And if he is, I expect him to play like the Joel Embiid we've seen for 6-7 years now.
Yep. Late for everything. That's your best player and your leader, called out by Tyrese Maxey. All right, I'm sure we'll talk about that again sometime soon. All right, Anthony's live. Slide on over to him. Again, remember Wednesday, Streamathon. I'm just going to call it Thon on Wednesday. 12 hours of everybody here on PHLY, starting with us at 8 a.m. Shout out to everybody out there watching and listening and everything else. We appreciate you. We're back tomorrow live at 8 a.m. Anthony is live right now. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.